Welcome to Hall Pass Sessions. This is your all-access Hall Pass to what the legends of the game are talking about. Legends from the Hall of Fame, the PBA, the PWBA, and the best that youth bowling has to offer. Hall Pass Sessions, complete with positive thoughts and a tip or two to help. And of course, legends to host. Now, here's Hall of Famers Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and Leanne Barrett-Hulsenberg. This is Hall Pass Sessions.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hall Pass. And boy, as we approach this new year, I think this show is going to have, a tidbit of a little bit of everything so that we can end the year on a great note, gain a little bit of knowledge, and of course, still roll into the new year promoting the sport that we love, bowling. Thank you for joining me again, although Leanne Hulsenberg is not with me tonight because she is still visiting family, much needed vacation. Her and Gary both need a vacation, so I hope they're having a great time. But before we bring in our guest, I want to just talk a little bit about him. So Blair, if you don't mind, can we bring up our guest statistics? Okay, so our guest tonight is Matt McNiel. Anyone who knows Matt, first off, there's a few things I can say about him. The guy knows his history of bowling. So do not get into a discussion with him and tell him he is wrong. He is so knowledgeable about the history of bowling. He is the guy you want to go to if you need an answer about the history of bowling. But I want you to look at his statistics. 5 USBC Open Championships, numerous 300s, numerous 800s, high average in the country. But again, the first statistic about Matt McNiel, 5 Open Championship Eagles. Yeah, that's right, 5. People strive for 1 or to be in the top 10. So without further ado, let's bring in my good friend, Matt McNiel.
Hi, CDB.
Hi, Matt. Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for taking time. I know you're busy. I know you just got back from a trip. But one of the things I truly want to discuss immediately with you is you're known for being one of the most consistent bowlers at the USBC Open Championships. I mean, 5 Eagles, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Matt, correct me, 3 all events, 1 doubles, 1 team?
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So not only does that impress me, 3 all events, which means you had to bowl good in every category. So tell everybody a little bit about how you're so darn consistent year to year.
Well, I get asked that question a lot, and I always say there isn't a secret to it. It's just a lot of old-fashioned, simple things that, it's always the simple things that are that make the biggest difference. You got to bowl with people that will elevate you. Okay. I've been really lucky to bowl with a lot of really, really good teams in that tournament. I think this is my 19th year. So in my 19 years, I've bowled with probably bowled with 9 or 10 iterations of a group, and but generally, for the most part, especially when I was on my hot streak, 2010 to 2015, I bowled with people that I bowled a lot with. And those guys really elevated me. They knew how to elevate me. I knew how to elevate them. And so you have a lot of really good karma or mojo, whatever you want to call it, you got that going on the pair. The second thing that always we did historically, and this was growing up in Minnesota, is we had a lot of beat the board team format tournaments. So you'd come in, you bowl your team event, you bowl doubles, you bowled singles, and then there was an all events category and a team all events category. And we had about 8 to 10 of those tournaments throughout the wintertime in Minnesota. So basically, you traveled around on the weekends as a team, the same team that you went to Open Championships with, and you got 10 dress rehearsals at Open
Right.
Championships, right? It was the same exact thing. On top of that, really, and I'm going back 15 years to when I won my first all events. I was 26. No, I wasn't that. I was 24. Sorry, 24. And I bowled everything. I mean, you just bowled
Right.
everything you could. So on top of all the team tournaments, you're bowling anything you could to be sharp. Scratch tournaments, King of the Hills, no taps, sweepers. Anything you could bowl on the weekends, you were bowling. So you were really sharp physically, you were really sharp mentally, you were in good shape, you bowled with people that you had a lot of good experience with leading up to the event. And it helped give you a really good chance to be successful. And that's what I always tell people is give yourself the best chance to be successful. You're not guaranteeing you're going to be successful, but
Right.
you put yourself in a much better spot. And I'm sure
Right.
I'm preaching to the choir with you, CDB, on
No,
that
no,
one.
no. You touch on something that I don't think people, I don't want to say they don't focus on it, but I'm not sure how much people put merit in the fact of um, bowling with people that elevate you. One of the best bowlers in the world, paid me a great comment, which I didn't know he paid me the compliment. He actually told Dell. But I bowled on some great teams, women's championship winners, um, but the compliment was that they felt bowling with me made them better. And I never looked at it that way. Actually, I felt like they made me better because my best performances were always in team event and doubles. I bowled my worst in singles. It was always my lowest score. So I like that. Right there's a teaching moment. Um, Not only should you surround yourself with people that support you and make you feel better, but if you have the opportunity, bowl with people that actually may know your game or know you so that you know each other's maybe quirks so that in those low times, they're there for you to pick you up to the next level. I think that's so key. And also bowling every single event. I mean, you know, bowling competitive games. We've talked about this. Bowling competitive games is way better practice than just practicing. Is that correct?
That's 100%. You can practice till you're blue in the face, but you know that that's just one part of really preparing for a tournament.
Right,
Is the physical practice. There's a lot
right,
of other things that go into preparing for an event, and even preparing for a bigger event means you got to be throwing shots that matter. Okay, you
right,
have to be acclimating yourself to feeling what shots that matter are, how they impact you, right? And how you're able to handle them and process your thoughts and make decisions and handle everything that's going on. There's a lot to it. There really, really is. And
There
so
there is, and 3 games goes by pretty quickly.
it can go by very fast. It depends
It
on your
can.
score sometimes, but it can go by pretty
Exactly.
quick.
Exactly. Well, you've been traveling. You've seen everything. You've seen people's work ethics, our team as well as other bowlers that we admire. You just came back from the Storm Cup in South Korea, and tell us just a little bit. What are you seeing out there in the international realm of bowling?
A lot of talent, a lot of rev rate. It just seems like I mean, it's really nuts. I go back, and it's pretty easy to date ourselves anytime. I'm 40. So when I go back to when I was 20, if you had a rev rate around 400, you were pretty well off. I mean, you got on it. You were considered to have a high rev rate. And now 400 really isn't even in the conversation.
Wow.
Now that number's turned into five, or at least 475 if you really seem to want to be competitive at a higher level nowadays. So that means there's a very large prevalence of two-handers internationally, but there's just a lot of rev rate out there. It's really really unbelievable to see, and it affects how the field plays lanes, how lane conditions get played, what types of balls get used, what types of surfaces get used,
Right.
and so it's like you know, you're always having to readjust your barometer for what you're expecting to happen in a tournament. When I was preparing for a tournament, I'm like, okay, we're bowling on this, so it should start out like this, and then this plays like that, so they're gonna go like this, and I'm gonna get from this ball to this ball to this ball, and I should end up here. And you just I always try to picture everything as it was going to happen in my mind. And so when I was repping for the players there, you're kind of running the scenarios. Okay, they're going to get flatter here, so that means, and they haven't sat, so they're going to transition quicker. The middles are going to go quicker. They're going to get left faster. So we're preparing surfaces, and you're trying to get the bowlers mentally ready to be like, that's not me. It's the lane. I need to move.
Right.
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 That's a really tough one, especially there's a lot of bowlers out there that are like, well, was it me? No, no,
Right.
it's Lane. Time to go. Like
Right.
let's move it.
Yeah.
So you're always just playing those things in your head, but it just seems like it's changing all the time. And it's just even harder to keep kind of the same playbook. So you're always having to adjust your playbook now.
And the funny thing about that is, especially now with these formats, and I've mentioned this before, and again, this is, I always have to say this sometimes, it's not a negative, it's just an opinion. But when you have these formats now where men and women are bowling together, in other words, they're crossing together, they're bowling on the same lanes. I do think the transition is quite a bit harder for the women at times, especially with a lot of the rev rate, urethane. There's a lot of factors that are going into it. Yet there are so many more women that the two-handed surge is definitely coming up. It's a little bit slower on the women's side than it is on the men's side, of course, understandable. But the rev rates are higher. But again, there is that difference between men and women. I mean, I don't know if besides a two-hander, I'm not sure if we see a 500 or 550 rev rate out of a woman yet. So again, what would be one of your suggestions if women were going to bowl some of these international events where you are going to be qualifying on the same lanes as the men, bowling on the same pattern? What is the suggestion that you can make? Obviously, you're not going to amp your rev rate up 150, right? So, what is something that women can definitely take advantage of in that situation?
Three things. First thing is, I think, a high level of versatility,
Okay,
incredible level of versatility.
love that.
You really have to maximize what you have, and you're going to have to be able to do a lot of different things. So not only when I say versatility, but I also am going to incorporate creativity into that. And I think that's where you have to find the joy in your practice sessions. I always said, practice arrows 1 through 6 and then work them back again and do it with the same ball, and try to shoot 200, at least above 200 every game. Even if you just start on a fresh house shot, play 1 through 6, play it back again, and try to shoot 200 every game with the same ball. It'll force you to get pretty creative pretty fast, but you're going to start to develop answers to problems, because that's what you're going to be faced with, especially if you're a female bowler bowling against men. The second thing I'm going to say is learn how to get really creative with your surfaces. There is so much unexplored area, I feel, on the bowler's side when it comes to prepping surfaces. There's so many things you can do other than just ram a ball with an Abralon pad. Okay. There are so many compounds, polishes, finishes, ways to surface a bowling ball, ways to layer compounds and finishes and intermix those things to create different types of ball reactions. Start playing around with that and start understanding what works for you when and why. I think that would be
Okay.
number two. The third thing would be an excellent spare shooter. And when I say excellent, take your idea of excellence and times it by 10. Okay. If you miss one simulation in a
Amen.
year, it's a bad year, right? Okay. Be an excellent spare shooter. I mean, I can easily say I saw a lot of females that could have been making the cut in Korea, but they couldn't because they're spare games. Okay. And it
Okay.
was just strictly their spare games that kept them out, nothing else. They had all the talent, they made enough good shots. It
Sure.
was everything like that. They just didn't make
Okay.
enough spares. Um,
Well, when you're shooting at 100 of them, no, I'm kidding. I'm just saying. No, but that's when you have to be on your spare game. It is correct. I mean, I struggle with that myself now. I mean, I'm shooting at a lot of spares, so I still practice spares a lot, which makes sense. I love that though, the versatility of the three things. That it's so important. Making yourself versatile, making yourself open minded, and especially with the surface changes. There is so much to surface change. And I also know that Storm's website, storebowling.com, has a lot of suggestions on there. Matt, hold your thoughts because I think Blair, let's see, we're going to see what's up next, right? I love the way that ball looks, by the way. I really do. What's up next? Get it? Um, Matt, I'm gonna. This is gonna be the true opinion part of the show tonight, because Blair told me I got to be out in 12 minutes. So I'm just letting you know, ha ha, as she's listening. Um, it is the end of December. We are getting ready to start a brand new year, which is going to be just a wonderful, great year in bowling. I'm just going to stay positive. But the same thing happens at the end of every year. We've got a lot of staff hopping. Uh, we are not going to mention any names whatsoever. But one of the things I'd like to discuss, and because you have and are continuing, I'm sorry, I know you travel internationally as doing sales, but you also are a ball rep and have been. Um, what is it with bowling in the last 3 to 5 years where at the end of every year we see a lot of changes, um, going back and forth with bowlers, which you did not see 10 years ago? Uh, Give us some of your opinions.
I think I think we got a lot of people who are looking at. I think we're in an equipment dominated era of our sport. I think there's a lot less
Ooh,
focus on physical skill and mastery, and it's a lot more creating the matchup. And I think whatever company or companies are matching up better to a certain type of lane conditions featured on a tour or whatever have wherever it is. I think people are kind of looking around. They're like, well, the elephant in the room is, I think, physical skill and mastery is taking a back seat here. Okay, I think that's a
Okay.
really big problem that the guardians of our sport have to figure out. I'm not
Okay.
smart enough to figure that one out, but we
Hmm.
got to figure that out. Um, it's really more about matching up now, because if you're
Okay.
not matched up, you're not going to throw it good because you can't see the picture. A. So B, now you're looking for the matchup. And if you don't feel that you can match up with what you have, you're thinking, well, if I try this company, then it'll work. I'll start matching up, and then I'm going to start scoring, and I'm going to start winning. And so I think the era of the way bowling, just where we're at right now, puts a lot more emphasis on I've got the right logo on my bowling ball, and I'm throwing it in the right place at the right time, versus I'm a really skillful bowler. I have very good fundamentals. I'm very mentally strong. I'm very physically fit, and I'm always ready to compete. Those things have taken a back seat to, do I have the right type of bowling ball in my hand?
That
So I think that's
that's a
why people jump around a lot.
that's a great starting point too, because there is no secret that all of the dominant companies have a characteristic of what their equipment does. I mean, that's been forever. I can remember that, and even when I in my successful days, every company had their, what their balls did, or just what they were known for, right? And uh, as you were on that staff, you worked harder to find out what actually fit your game better, and again, surfaces, and you just learned everything there was to know about the company, the equipment, and what was going to make you the best you could be in an all-around circle. Um, do you think, though, with that being said, as to maybe the mastery of our game? I mean, we've talked about this before in the past. Every podcast has talked about this, about how the two-handed bowling, the learning curve is just a little bit shorter. It's changed the game. With all that being said, though, do you think bowlers in general, and I don't want to use the word panic, but look at it where the tour season is so short that they have to make decisions based on just maybe security, or what may change that little bit so that they can take advantage of that short period of time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tours next year is, I think, 10 weeks plus, 1 or 2 weeks for some other events.
Mhm.
And if you do it for a living, you got 10 weeks to make a living. That's a pretty tough go, when you're competing for money for your living in an environment where basically all the variables that directly affect your scoring pace are out of your control every single
Right.
week.
Yeah.
Um, that's that's tough, and it puts people in really tough positions. And I empathize with those people, because this is what you love to do, and this is what you worked your whole life to do. And you get there and you're like, this is tough. This is really hard. Maybe if I sign a contract with this company, that'll be what gets me over the hump. Some bowlers, I think there's some bowlers out there that definitely have what it takes. I think there's some bowlers out there that fall into the trap of, well, this is what I've always done, and I don't want to do anything else, and they kind of just get stuck in the cycle.
Sure.
And then, there's a very, very small percentage of people who actually make a good go of it.
Right.
But that percentage is very, very, very small.
Right.
But there is a
I
lot
think,
of, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, go right ahead. Finish up, Matt.
Um, there is a lot of company hopping. I guess if I would share any sage wisdom, um, our community is so small.
Right.
Uh, it's so small. It's crazy small. And if you're gonna change companies, do it the right way, serve out your
Right.
contract, to the last day of the last hour of the last day. Um, you don't need to throw anybody under the bus. Just do the
Right.
right thing. If you want to move on, great. Try a different set of tools, no problem. Um, but you know, don't have a contract and show up at league with 6 balls from the other manufacturer.
Right.
Because that's going to start to burn bridges, and there's only a couple of bridges to burn in this industry, and then you're going to be on the island by yourself. So
Right.
so there's Matt's sage wisdom. Be nice to
Yeah,
people.
it is. But I'm going to tell you about your wisdom right there. I think it is spot on. So, I've always lived by the philosophy, and I'm going to say it here. I have been very fortunate in this industry. Very fortunate. I had long contracts. I, I was extremely happy with every company that I represented. So, you know, fortunate. But if there was one thing that I learned from Bill Supper and Brian Purcell back in the day when I first started, number one was I negotiated my contracts on my own. That was one thing that they helped teach me. Actually, I could say, but the key to it was developing that relationship where that as you are a part of a team, if things were to change, your relationship was so comfortable in the fact of you could sit down and have that real conversation and say, look, things have changed. I have another opportunity. My family's going in a different direction, or I'm going for, I was already, 14 years with the company. And then I was given this great opportunity by Brunswick, and we did that. And then my career was going in a different direction. So was Dell. And then boom, here we are with Rotogrip and Storm. Um, but I can't tell you how much I lived by those, leave the right way and make sure you do the right thing, because you never know what lies ahead, because at times you do think the grass is always greener, or something may not work out, or something changes, or whatever it be. So you may say it's sage of wisdom there, but I have to tell you, I think no matter who you are and where you are in your career, just making sure that you develop that strong relationship with the people that you work with, so that if things do change, it's a comfortable conversation that you can have, and there are no bitter feelings. And I think you're spot on that one about just doing the right thing, because our industry is rather small. I mean, very small. So good words there, Matt. I'll tell you,
Thank
you're
you.
teaching me a couple of things tonight. Let me tell you. Okay, we're going to change really quickly, and then we're going to wrap up. I had a question here that I wanted to ask you. Um, Rick asks, this is going to be a little tip here, Matt. Having a problem opening my shoulders too much. What drill can I do to help me correct this problem?
Generally, an over opening of the shoulders is caused by an over exaggerated crossover step. So it depends on if you're 5 steps, 4 steps, 6 steps, whatever that is. It's that it's when you get the ball moving. And generally, if you overcross, you're going to over open the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I do. Gets the ball kind of outside behind your head, and people will say that's no good, yada yada yada. If you can keep it in line and close to your body when you close back up, it's not an issue. Now, if you more come over the top of it, like you're going to slice a golf ball, or kind of like one of these, or in bowling, it's more. Sorry, I can't see me very well, but it's more one of these, right? You get the
We
chicken
get
wing
that,
thing
right?
going, right? Okay, then it's a problem, right? So it sounds like it's a problem because you're asking about it. So I would say that crossover step's got to get cleaned up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to just leave you there, Rick, because it just does me no good to tell you to clean up your crossover step. Well, how do I do that? I'm guessing you've been bowling a while, so it'll be very, very difficult if you just go out to the lanes and say, I'm going to work on my crossover step today. The real work is going to be at home in a tall mirror, okay? And what you're going to do, just start with take a softball or something like that and just put it in your hand, mimic a bowling ball, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take your initiation step and then your crossover step, depends on how many steps you are, okay? And that crossover step, what you need to do is your eyes need to watch it more going directly in front of your left foot rather than over crossing in front of your left foot. Okay. And when you do that, you're going to work on pushing the ball out towards your target line. Now, what has to happen here is you have to watch it so you're training your brain. And that was a Fred and Borden thing. Coach Fred Borden, one of the best coaches ever in the world. He always said, train your brain, and we learn visually. So that's why you got to do this drill, probably a couple hundred times every day in the mirror for a few weeks until you really train your brain, as Coach Borden would say. And you'll definitely start to notice a big improvement doing it that way versus just trying to go out to the lanes and work on it there. So
Awesome.
that's my guess without ever seeing you bowl, but there you have it.
Matt, look at that. My goodness, Matt. That was a great explanation. I love it. I mean, God, you're such a fountain of knowledge. I love talking with you. Okay, and before I let you go, New Year's resolution, Matt, do you have one?
Oh man. Hmm.
I'll tell you what mine is.
All right, I want to hear what yours is.
Well, I can't really tell you what my one, but patience is going to be number one. I need to just be a little more patient in every aspect of things that are going on around me, things I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to gain a little more patience in the right way and kind of clean up my potty mouth a little bit. So, I mean, it's just part of who I am. But okay, those are my 2 New Year's resolutions. You got one?
So I went back, I've been doing a lot of travel and you can definitely see it in my
Mm-hmm.
pictures. If you look at my 2019 photo versus this photo, I'm a little jollier in
No.
my physical appearance. So I went out, and when I was really skinny, I was more active, but I was doing juicing. So I was a lot of fruits and
Oh,
vegetables every day. So I was doing
okay.
a huge full serving of fruits and a huge full serving of vegetables. So I bought a really nice juicer, and I've actually been using it last week and a half. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to cut down on some of the largeness in my figure here and get back into a little better shape. So that's my goal.
Okay, I'm glad it's not cutting out coffee. That would have
No,
been
oh God,
the
no.
okay.
No, and plain
Hey,
black
Matt.
coffee is good for you. Plain black
Yeah,
coffee, 2 cups a day, it'll decrease your risk of Alzheimer's.
me too. Me too. As you know, I'm a huge coffee drinker. Matt, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you. We will have you back again. I look forward to bowling with you again. I look forward to talking with you again. And I wish you all the best in this new year. And I hope that we're at a tournament together where maybe you're ball repping. Who knows?
That maybe that will happen again. I certainly enjoyed the experience last time, so I'll be looking
I
forward
think
again and give my
I
best
think
to
it will.
Dell. And thank you so much for having me. It's a great time.
I will take care, Matt. Have a great new year.
You too. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. So you heard it here first, not really first, but there's a couple of takeaways from tonight. Love, love, love the fact that if you are involved in bowling with the team or doubles, um, bowl with people that elevate you so that in return, you can elevate them. I have truly been humbled and blessed with the fact of I have bowled with some I mean, wonderful women who have no idea what they did for me or my game. Andrea Fleming, Linda Barnes, Kathy Doran Lizzie, Tammy Turner, many, Marsha Komrowski, Shannon, Amanda, you name it, we have bowled together. Brenda Norman, or I should say Brenda Mack, she's going to kill me. Just many, many women that elevated me to a level that I did not think was possible. So that is key. The other key, make sure that you are versatile when you bowl. Get ready for those tournaments, but versatile in so many ways, mentally, physically, and know that equipment. Play around with those surfaces, not only surface, but shine as well. Doesn't have to always be dull, right? So lots of takeaways. And by the way, remember that it's a new year. Yep, 2025 had its ups and downs with the bowling industry, as it always does, but we always come out on top. Why? Because we all love bowling, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we preserve the sport we love. This is Hall Pass. This is CDB, wishing everyone on behalf of Storm a very, very happy new year. Stay safe out there. And we look forward to seeing you on the 13th, in which we will have one of the smartest guys in the industry on this show, Hank Boomershine. Take care. Enjoy your new year.